All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6:03, so I will call our meeting to order this evening of the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee. And for those who may not know me, I am Jamie Shoplin, the chair, and I have with me the co-chair, Tara Capps. With this evening kicking off, we have only a few meetings left. So we have this month, we have April, and then we have May, and that'll conclude the meetings for CCAC in this school year. So I'll start with a couple of opening chair remarks. So first, I want to let our members know that we do have two CCAC members who have decided to conclude their membership with us. So Megan Knapp and Kara Phillips have decided to step away from the committee. And on that note, which Laura will share more information around later in subcommittee reports, we did go ahead and post the membership application. So all of that is out there and is available for accepting new submissions. And if you're a returning member, if you'd like to continue your service, you need to make sure that you reapply. Also want to just share a couple of notes around the calendar of observances for the month of April. So on April 1st, starting April 1st, we have Autism Awareness Month. And then we also have World Autism Awareness Day, and that's on April 2nd. At the Board of Education meeting on the 26th coming up, there will be a proclamation for National Autism Acceptance Month. So we appreciate the board recognizing that. We also have a couple of updates since our last meeting. I did have the opportunity, along with Tara and Laura, to connect with the special education leadership team. So myself, Tara, and Laura met with Dr. Bingman and Director Keller, and we caught up on a few items around the publicity of the resource fair. So I wanted to give a huge thanks and appreciation for all of the support that you all have provided in terms of helping us publicize the resource fair. It's gone out through multiple channels, from a website to school messenger, in Spanish and in English, so it's getting well publicized. I also did do a recording on WFRE, so it is getting publicized through the ad for a cause, whatever that spot is called. It's just a 30-second spot, and it is running on WFRE to increase awareness, which is new for CCAC. We haven't done that in the past. We did also issue a press advisory, which was acknowledged by the Frederick News Post, so hopefully the Saturday reporter will be able to show up at the event this year. I also connected with Missy Dirks, the president of FCTA, just to see how we can partner together to get some feedback directly from educators in an anonymous way. I know that there are other surveys going around to staff, but wanted to get some feedback through the members of the teacher union, not just special educators, but general educators as well. So we're working on what that would look like. And we'd be targeting something going out in September of this year. We also have two special guests here this evening from the ACT team. So we have Tricia Lipinski and Cheryl LeBoy, who will be sharing some information around the ACT team. But before we dive into that, I do want to go ahead, and the clicker is not working, so I can't advance the slides, but that's okay. Oh, now it's working. Troy is giving me the stink eye. He's like, don't you dare. I do want to go ahead and get out of the way our approval of the minutes from our February 24th, 2025 CCAC public meeting. So is there a motion to approve the minutes from our February meeting?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Laura made the motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Jake. All those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted? The count, yeah. Yeah. Okay, 17 in favor. Are you abstaining? Okay, so one abstention. Any in opposition? Okay. All right, so moving on from our minutes. We will move into our presentation by Trish and Cheryl, and they will share with us information around the ACT team. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
We hope this works, right?
Yeah, it'll be great.
It's gonna be, good, it's live slides.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah, you might have to come a little bit.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say, where's the best place to stand?
Wherever you like.
Wherever? We just keep circulating?
Sure.
Whatever.
Am I using this with a clicker? Is a clicker? Okay. Be fine. You're welcome. So I'm Trish Lopasinski, and I'm a speech pathologist on the assistive technology team.
And I'm Cheryl LeBoy, and I'm a special educator on the assistive technology team.
I kind of feel like we're on Shark Tank right now. Exciting, I've got nothing new. Augmentative communication and technology team. So who are we and what do we do? Should we go to the second one because it's got like all the stuff? We're gonna try.
Went that way. Maybe not, maybe.
Oh, you do have to wait a long time? All right.
I don't know what's happening.
Just advance, can you just hit a button and advance the slide over there?
I did hit that one. I did hit the right arrow. I hit a space bar. Doesn't have a touch screen.
Let's get out of presentation. There you go.
There we go.
Wow.
Just a mouse click, just a mouse click. Okay. All right. So the assistive technology team is made up of two halves, like a twist cone. So Cheryl and I, there are 4 team leaders, and we are all under special education. So Ashley Evans, and I think if we click on the ice cream cone, it's going to take us to. Oh, you can't. Just pretend. There we go. There we go. We're going to take you to our website because the other half of that is DTI, and that's a technology Department of Technology and Infrastructure. There we are. Yeah. Okay. So Kelly and I are both speech pathologists, and Cheryl and Ashley are both special educators by trade. And then Amy is another team leader, and she is more of an instructional technologist. We are all, the 4 of us under special education, are all assigned to feeder patterns throughout the county. And if you ever want to know a little more about us, we'll show you where to find that. Hold on. There's the school leader, the team leader assignment. So if you're ever like, I'd like to get a hold of my team leader, and you don't want to go through your school, you can email us directly, okay? So that'll go in there. Cheryl has 500,000 schools, the Frederick feeder pattern. I'm just kidding, sorry. The Frederick feeder pattern.
Catoctin, Walkersville, those are mine.
I have Linganore and Urbanus feeder pattern, and I share Rock Creek with Ashley, as well as Whittier Elementary, and I have Carroll Manor. Did I already say that? And then Kelly has Oakdale's feeder pattern, and what's the other big one? Lincoln.
She has some schools in
Yeah.
Frederick.
And then she
Yep.
heads up infant and toddler, and shares pre-K with you, as well as
Butterfly Ridge Brigade.
yeah. And then Ashley has Middletown's area and shares Rock Creek with me, and then she has Brunswick area, and we share Whittier as well. So then the rest of the people, so we're kind of the ones that, if assistive technology assistance is needed, like you're going through your IEP, or you have a student that you feel has special communication needs, or maybe they have special reading and writing needs, dyslexia, they could have physical access needs. Through the course of the IEP, assistive technology is one of the considerations. And what you do first is you figure out, okay, is there a need? Can that be met at the school building level? Are the tools there, something countywide? And if not, and it's more specialized, then you would request an ACT support. That's kind of in a nutshell.
Yep.
And when things are being requested then, and if there's items that need to be checked out, or repairs, or troubleshooting, and all that stuff, that's where our user supports come in. And so Sean's brand new. We just had Lori retired, and then we have Teresa and Angela and Jamie. And so we have a ticket system. And so if you ever have a problem with your assistive technology at home, as a parent, you're not able to log into that system, but you can email your teacher and they can put the ticket in for you. And that's really the fastest way to have something addressed, because that's going in instantly and sort of like triaged. If you email us, we might be out at a separate school first, and then we just end up putting a ticket in for you. So either way, we're gonna put in a ticket, but it's really, I feel like, streamlined our process. We've really grown. Since I joined the team in 2011, Cheryl was right after that,
Yeah.
and we went from using a binder to write things in, and now with the merger with DTI, it's been great, because now we're part of a barcode system, and it's really helped with accountability and to streamline the
Super
process.
efficient.
Yep. Okay. Did that make sense as far as what we do? Any questions on what the assistive technology team does?
So if there was a parent and they were home and they went on the
Uh-huh.
website, they could directly, they click on that email address and email
Yeah.
that, the user.
The team leader? You could,
Good, yeah.
yeah, you actually could, I think it's harder to tell which user supports are with your feeder pattern.
Yes.
But we are directly linked in there in terms of you can tell who your
Okay.
team leader
So
is.
it's best to go through you
Yeah.
then.
And then if you have an issue, then and it's, if it's a tech support issue, if we can't do it, then we'll put the ticket in for you.
Okay, great.
The website, while we're here though, the website's got a lot of really good information. There we go. We have, like, if you need visuals printed, you have a student that benefits from picture schedules or anything, we've got things linked right up there. Sorry, water break. Cheryl, you want to go through some of
So
that?
you know, the staff also use our website for the same purpose, right? So we try to put everything in one main hub that can be accessed by everyone. So typically, if you find that there is a need for a visual or some sort of support for either for communication or behavior, that type of thing, you can easily locate those from our website. You have the visuals here. Typically, they're divided out by the communication app. Categorically would be TouchChat, Proloquo, and TD Snap. Motor Plan would be LAMP.
And all of these things are PDFs, so you don't have to have a special program in order to print them out. And if you feel like it's something that would benefit your student and you truly don't have access to that, that's something that you could email us about and we could talk about that. All right, let's see here. The Classroom Communication Toolkit is a really nice thing, just as kind of a PSA for us. I feel like our pre-Ks have really exploded in terms of growth, and these youngsters are, a lot of times, it's their first experience in schools. They do, a lot of them, quite a heavy population of them do have communication delays. And so last year we implemented the use of pre-K communication toolkits. So in the 3s classrooms, they have some low tech, and we'll go through what that is. We have some paper-based flipboards, some talking buttons, so they come in and they can greet their classmates, or they can be programmed with nursery rhymes or repeated lines in books, things like that. And then they also have one sort of kind of a mid-level communication device. So it's got overlays that you put in, and you can, maybe if you're doing a painting project, you can have the colors on there so they can select. So that's been a nice way to help bridge, instead of coming directly to us first. If there's concerns, letting them get acclimated to school, maybe around their peers for good communication models, and using some of that equipment. And then if those tools don't prove to be enough, then we'll say, you know what, let's take another look and see if there are other things that we should be doing, whatever that may be. we kind of talk a lot about communication because I think we get a lot of requests for that. But our website is great too. We have a lot of tools that can help with extensions, or screencasts and things that help with extensions that are available countywide. So the Read and Write extension, you may have heard of, that has text to speech. So if you want things read aloud, it has a note-taking feature where you can go through and highlight information, and then the things that you highlight, you can collect and export and almost make like your own study guide. No, that's okay.
So basically, I brought up the academic supports that are available to most students, the reading apps, and that are available typically through the media center, that the classroom teacher would typically provide. Then we also have some. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, go back to Book Creator.
Okay.
Is this one through Chrome?
Yes.
So Book Creator is kind of new this year. We used to have it just on the iPads, but they've still since come out with a Chrome extension, and I sort of think of it sort of like Canva Lite. So it's a multimodal tool that you can use pictures in, and so if you're thinking, wow, maybe my student sort of needs an alternate way to show what they're learning, and that's one of their accommodations, then they can go in and maybe just record their voice on it. You can type in it, it will go back, it creates these books, and then you can come back through and they can read aloud. They can be exported to home, so if you have an iDevice, it will just read under iBooks. So it's really cool. The Chrome extension itself is amazing. It has a lot of templates in there that are pre-made that go through, it's almost like it's almost like digital scrapbooking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and you go through, and the how-to books show you how to use each feature. How do you add an image? How do you add a recording? And so we just had the Book Creator, what would you call her? The representative was out at Urbana Elementary, was it 2 weeks ago? And was in with a fourth grade class, I think. I'm just
Yeah,
guessing now. Okay. Yeah, and so she did an interactive lesson with it. And again, that's something that's available across the county to all students. And so we've got screencasts up there that help you get started, and if you ever want to explore. Hey, you. All right. This is Cheryl's big, this is your area for sure.
A lot of the things that we currently provide are available to everyone. The accessibility, access for all is really kind of where we start. So the Read Write extension is available to all students. Typically where we come into play is if whatever the guidance that they're given in the general education classroom, if they're not able to still be able to use the supports with the guidance, then typically we get called in, to take it another step further, or maybe we have to work a little bit more on the features of the tool, or maybe we, work on some strategies like dictation. Maybe those strategies need to be layered out a little bit better, that type of thing. So what we provide typically is a little bit more intense or more layered than what is provided by the general education teacher and the special education case manager.
All right, so we're going to go on with the presentation, but just know that our website has all of this stuff, and we're going to get to it. But the PD calendar, so the training that we do, is on that right link too. So we're going to get to that, but know that you can always go back to our website and find out what's coming up, because the trainings that we offer are they're open to you too. All right, and so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think we talked about it. You want me to just talk about it now?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's just talk about it. All right. This Friday, we're actually offering, so basically, let me back up. We are moving our trainings heavily to be virtual, so that I guess one really nice thing, if that's what you can call it, that came out of COVID is really our push to use virtual training. And it's really helped us, I guess, reach much more of the county at the same time. So we used to try to go building to building And it was difficult because you had to figure out when teams were available, and then oftentimes a school-wide training just really isn't going to happen very often. So now, what we've moved to are quarterly trainings, and we are trying to offer the communication apps that students are using, as well as we talked about the Read Write extension and Book Creator, so other tools that are available across the county. And a lot of times it's the end of the quarter, typically on a teacher workday, because then SEIAs are available. Parents a lot of times are able to get on then. And we offer live virtual trainings. And so we push this calendar out, and it's got links. We ask that, a lot of times I think that we ask that there is a registration so we have an idea of the numbers, and we can have some accountability as far as who's been, which schools are showing up, because a lot of times we'll send out invites like, hey, your student is using this, and it would be beneficial if these staff members would come, and please send this home to your parents. So on Friday, March 28th, which is in 3 days?
Yep.
Okay, 4 days. We are offering AAC 101, so AAC is augmentative and alternative communication. So if you have a student that is delayed in communication and they're perhaps using a device to help them out, we give kind of the foundations of what it is and the rationale for it. Try to kind of answer some questions if people are apprehensive, go over any myths that might be associated with that. And then Book Creator for Chrome is offered at that same time. I think those are the only two at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Then that's we said, hey, take AAC 101, and then if you're interested and your child's using it, come to our app training. And so we go over just the basics of the app, like how would you customize it, the ins and outs, things like that, the features of it. And then, so we're doing LAMP, TD Snap Motor Plan, and Touch Chat at that time. And then the last session of the day is going to be AAC 102, and that's going to be some strategies for implementation. Okay, you have this app now, how are you going to use it? And then we're doing Read and Write. And again, you all are welcome. And pass it on. I think we tried to send it to the Partners for Success as well. Yeah. Yep. All right, let's go back to the presentation and kind of give you an idea of we support students, infants and toddlers, all the way through students that are in Success. So basically, our youngest, I think, is about 2.
Yeah.
And all the way through 21. We also see students that are getting HHT. So we might be going into the home, helping out then, or maybe doing something virtual, or just sort of on a consult. So they have IFSPs that we're dealing with, IEPs, and or 504 plans. And what happens then is typically, I mean, the biggest one is the IEP. So that's under your special considerations section. That's assistive technology.
It should be considered
Yeah.
at every meeting.
At every meeting. And you don't have to have the ACT team involved in order to have assistive technology. Okay, and I think that's what we're going to get into next. So AT, and on this presentation, and you are welcome to share it, Jamie, because of the links. That Maryland Assistive Technology Guide is linked in there, so we're trying to use the terminology that they are using. So low-tech or aided is a lot of paper-based things, pencil grips. So there's no batteries involved. It could be a calculator. That's assistive technology, okay? It's basically a tool, and we don't have to be, like, you might have that on there, but that's something that could be made at the school or checked out from the school. So you can have AT on your IEP, but no AT service. So we're kind of the service part, okay? So that's under special considerations. The next level is mid-tech. And again, oh, that is the battery, sorry, the calculator's here. We talked about that pre-K kit. Sometimes we also check out these other devices. They're referred to as light tech. And those are some magnetic buttons that they've got. Maybe you do the joke of the day, or maybe you have a student that's delivering a message to the office. We have some that are in sequence, so you can kind of have a little conversation. I know we have some back and forths coming so that students can relay what they did at home, and they can also go home and relay what they've done at school. The Go Talk 9, that's the one we talked about that has the paper overlays that can be taken. If you see the buttons on there, it's got 5 different levels, so you can have 5 different overlays that with things programmed in there. So this is mid-tech. This could still be AT. If it's those pre-K kids, we might not say they have an AT service yet. But if I'm coming out and we're saying, oh, this is a tool I think they need and they're getting checked out, we're probably going to put them on what they call AT Consult, and that's your supplementary aids and services part. Okay? Anything else about that, Cheryl?
No.
Okay. The high-tech communication, or excuse me, high-tech AT, that's going to be more like your tablets, computers. It can be a Chromebook, but Chromebooks are school-based, so you can still have high-tech AT on your IEP, but not have to have an AT service. And if they are able to use the read-write extension and they're getting all their needs met, we do not need to put them on consult. If we feel like it's something, I know sometimes we'll start with kids that are very young, and we get them started on something, but I feel like, based on experience, probably gonna be coming back in based on when we start leveling up and the rigor starts increasing. Maybe we go ahead and keep them on consult until we feel like they're gonna fly on their own.
And a lot of times for my reading and writing students that have occupational occupational therapy services or support, whether that is consult or not, they typically also can be someone that provides the assistive technology, right? So they can absolutely work with the read-write extension and that be part of what it is that they are working on as part of their service. So it can, it's a team type of thing. That doesn't necessarily mean assistive technology, as we are the only sole provider for the technology or assistive technology.
And Cheryl and Ashley have worked really hard over the last 2 years to collaborate with the OT and PT department to sort of really build their knowledge and their comfort level with the read-write extension and with Book Creator, so that, when handwriting, when you feel like you've worn it out and you've been working on writing and tracing, and it feels like it's a frustrating thing, that we can move on or layer in something that we can maybe see some more success and growth with.
Yeah, because it's about your student or your child or the student getting their message out, regardless of how you want to know what they know. And waiting on them to use the pencil or handwrite sometimes is not, it's not beneficial. So it's great that we've been able to do that. So it's been a good partnership for sure.
Okay, we did talk about some of the countywide tools. We showed you where you can find Book Creator. But the other really cool place to go to is your media center, your school's media center site. I didn't know if you were ever aware that they have a bunch of free tools there. Sora is, would you say they're ebooks and some audiobooks.
The FCPL Frederick County Public Library is also linked there. And then it also will guide you through how to set up the library card, so that then you can then check out the materials online.
Orbit Note, that goes back into what Cheryl was talking about with accessibility. So if, again, pencil and paper are, sort of slowing you down, dragging you down, they're getting their assignments through Schoology or they need a PDF, Orbit Note will convert it, correct?
Yeah.
So sort of like OCR, and it will convert it so that it's an interactive document then, that they can type in and they can have it read aloud.
Takes your PDF and lets you read and write with it.
Equatio is a digital math tool that's not used quite as often. We're trying to kind of build up how people are using it. I'm excited this year because I am not good at math at all, but it has this thing called MathSpace on there, I believe, and you can put your problem in, and instead of just taking you through the steps, it generates a similar problem and walks you through the steps. So then I can say, oh, here, I'll just give you this, and it will walk your student through how to do the problem. So sort of building
That's available to everyone.
everybody. I know, we're all struggling parents out there.
And typically, Bookshare isn't available to everyone, right? So it is really, in order to have a Bookshare account, you do have to have some sort of a need, whether it be reading or physical access or that type of
Can't
thing.
turn the page of a book, that sort of thing.
Vision, absolutely. So we then, the case manager typically comes to us and says that there is a need, indicates what that might be, and we will walk them through getting the student the Bookshare account so that then they can have textbooks and literary books.
Not to be confused with Book Creator, though. Okay. Okay, and we kind of talked about this when you would submit a request for support. And that's when the IEP team or your team has determined, you know what, the supports at the building level, at the school level are just not cutting it. And so really before then, and we are coming out, we've been tasked with doing a standard operating procedure for assistive technology that will be, so there'll be an official, some official steps. But just because we're not currently on a student's IEP, that doesn't mean that your team can't reach out to your team leader. So, you know, maybe they're new to the school system or they're just not familiar with the tools. Prior to them asking for a formal report or a support request, we can still say, have you tried these things, or did you know it could do this? And sometimes just by having a consult with them, we can introduce them to some tools and supports that could be beneficial. All right, Jamie had asked me about some numbers. So this is going to show you some growth. So currently, what you're looking at is we only had numbers from 2020 on. And so, well, actually August of 2019, it looks like we started. So these numbers are divided among the 4 team leaders. So we went from 606 in August of 2019. You can see how we went down during COVID a little bit, and then we've gone back up. And as of right now, we're at about 665 students that are officially on AT Consult.
And the dip was
Oh, yeah,
just
sorry,
because of
yes.
COVID, but because we were able to provide the read-write extension and Equatio to all students. So typically, we were contacted and provided license, but student by student, case by case basis.
It did start out just as a special ed tool.
It did, absolutely.
Thank you. If I had read my notes on there, that would. Did it go directly to that one? Yeah, okay. So then equipment that we have checked out right now is 1,149 devices that we're managing. So again, that goes through, that's all ticketed, and we have a very organized team. And so if you ever hear from them, it's because we are audited by 2 different sets of people. So they have people looking out for them. So if something gets lost or it's not accounted for, they will be following up with it. So it's just their job. But they're very efficient.
If it needs an update, typically
Yeah.
they can tell whether or not something has been on the system, and if it hasn't, then they'll reach out, because that's how they, keep track of if it's still in service, or if it's still alive, or if it's moved to Florida.
This is, I think this is a big one for me, because this really shows the growth of our specialized programs. So specialized programs in FCPS, of course, that's going to be expressions, learning for life. Pyramid shows at the bottom what they are. So in 2011, there were 47 students in Learning for Life, and now, as of 2021, because we don't have the updated numbers right this second, I don't think they got put in, up to 184. So grand total, over 10 years, we went from 192 students in specialized programs up to 546. And I would say of all of those, typically in Pyramid, I'm not getting a lot of calls for assistive technology, but expressions and inclusive pre-K are my really big ones. And then the numbers that it's not showing on there at all is infants and toddlers, and that's really grown.
And infant and toddler, it's a different scenario for us, because typically they reach out and we do a consult of, chatting of how things were going, what is it that you've tried, that type of thing, like Trish was saying, but then we go into the hole. So that's how we work with the families and the
Service
the
providers.
service providers. That's how we work together to service that population.
All right, we already looked at the website. And I think what we didn't talk about for all of these trainings, especially the app trainings, we have self-paced modules. So if you can't make it and you want, that can be emailed to you. And if it's not,
And most are in Spanish as well.
I think so.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's it. Questions? Winners?
I'm at Whittier, so I see you all the time. I'm in inclusive pre-K, so we're one of the high flyers. And I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, because you guys do amazing work, and these trainings are fantastic. I recommend them to anybody who has an hour to take them, because you learn so much, and you can ask your individualized questions as well. The one thing I wanted to say is, if your kiddo has a high-tech talker, helper, whatever, please put the charger in the backpack. I know that like days get a little crazy, or you think you charged it the night before, or whatever the case may be, but it just helps us so much if there's a charger that we can plug in. And also, they are magicians. Whenever I have like my worst day with the tablets, they just show up in my classroom. So they are the best. They really are.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Go to Jen next. Oh, I have a question about Read Write. I heard it doesn't work inside Schoology. Is that still the case? Or used to be the case?
No, that used to be the case.
So now kids can do
And I
this.
really don't know that it didn't work in Schoology per se, as I feel like sometimes it was maybe operator error or presentation error or assignment error. In other words, there were times I think that the teacher just didn't know which button to click to make it accessible for right to,
So if a student encounters that, just to go, then you can go back to the teacher and
Yes.
ask them if they've
right?
allocated it.
Absolutely.
And is there, with the Schoology, I think every school,
Ambassador.
there's a Schoology ambassador at every school, and so if they don't know how to make that work, then,
And typically, it's just a matter of how to open the document as well. That's the Orbit Note piece too. So we did use Cami, now we're full on Orbit Note. And so when the teacher creates the assignment and puts it in Schoology, I typically don't do that, so I'm not sure exactly how this transpires now. But previously, you actually had to say, provide this document via Orbit Note, or provide this document in PDF format, and using the so there were different values that you could input or assign or arrange to view the document or interact the document. But typically now it's a one and done type of thing. So if there's something in that it's not working, it typically might just be a technology glitch, to be honest. The computer just needs to be restarted, or close your document out, refresh it. So they're little things that are easily remedied, honestly.
Any other questions?
Andrea?
I have a question and a comment. You talked about the home to school and school to home communication. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
yeah, so with some of our non-speakers, and they're not quite at the level where they're yet using sort of a more formal communication device, we have some talking buttons. And so a lot of times it's my young pre-Kers, or maybe some older students with some pretty significant either intellectual or communication difficulties. So if they get off the bus, they're not going to be able to tell how their day went. So at school then, the teacher or their SEIA is programming some fun things, or some, give some information. Today, we played Play-Doh and that sort of thing. And so I call it more of an intro type of device, because what they're learning is really important about, I can share information. Right? I get home and I know if I push this button, I'm going to hear that voice and those things that are going on. And so then when it comes back, The parents are then putting on there, you know, grandma came over last night and we had pizza. And so when they get to school, same thing. A lot of times it happens like in morning meeting or something, they'll go around and take turns and tell us about your night. And so it's really about sharing information. So it's sort of an electronic show and share situation.
I love that idea. We struggle with homeschool communication, so that seems right on time.
Well, the other thing is a lot of times our devices are a little bit more expensive because devices are, but
Just are.
yeah. But what we've noticed is that Amazon's come out with a lot of them, and I'm just telling it so you're not. They seem to be advertised for dogs right now. You know, the ones you see the talking buttons. But a lot of times they're just talking buttons, and that's why I'm like, don't laugh.
Really what they've done is they've taken our talking buttons and they're using them with their pets.
You know, that said, I want some water, that sort of thing. So the nice thing is they've come down in price. Sometimes they're not quite as durable. But if you're ever wanting to try something at home, like we just ordered, I think, just a few to see, hey, which one of these really inexpensive ones are holding up? Like, because I think parents are probably the first to tell you that if something is marketed to a specialized market for people with disabilities, it's a lot more money. And so we're trying to figure out, are there, you know, we're all in a very budget-aware arena right now, so we're trying to figure out, are there other more inexpensive ways that we could be doing things?
And then I just had one additional comment. My daughter has the lamp.
Yeah.
And so she has some words, but she's not conversational. She doesn't like to use it to talk, but she used it to teach herself how to read. So just if you're on the fence about, you know, does my child really need this? I mean, you may be shocked by what comes out of that.
Nice.
Just wanted to share that.
That's really great.
And it has helped with her pronunciation as well.
Excellent. And there, you know, on that particular device, if you wanted to go outside of the bounds of LAMP, you could have it linked to just a button that could be recorded for like things that like home and school. I know you can do it in touch chat, so that could be one of those ways that you could do it. But otherwise, where does your daughter go to school?
Deer Crossing. She's in Expressions.
Oh yeah, you could definitely talk to
Kelly.
talk to Kelly about that.
And taking photos with the iPad is also very helpful for eliciting that communication and that message back and forth, sharing that. So that's also really great. But you know, it doesn't necessarily mean something you have to do all the time. But when you do something really, really fun and you want to share it with the staff and with the peers, absolutely that.
Probably an easier thing to do is Book Creator on the iPad is a great way. Then you can almost create like a diary, a journal. Yeah, definitely reach out. And so if Book Creator is not already on the iPad, that's something that that is often added, because so many times if a student's using communication devices, they're really learning to put together single words and things, and that's wonderful, but there are other times that it's nice to be able to get phrases and a story as a way to share information.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, sure. Any other
Go ahead and register for Friday. We'd love to have you.
Any other questions? Great. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing all this wonderful knowledge with us. We will share All right, so we will move into our next agenda item, which is remarks from our Board of Education member. Over to you.
Okay, I don't have much tonight. As you know, we're going to, the next meeting does not talk about budget, but starting in April, that will be our focus through the end of June. So I do feel that if there are any direct concerns, anything that this committee and the members want to express or want us to understand, please email us. You don't have to email the whole board. You can email me. I will then share it. That's fine. But if you're comfortable doing the whole board, it's board@fcps.org, or it's my first name, my last name, first name period, last name at FCPS. It follows the same pattern that all the other emails do. So that's really all I have tonight.
Okay. Over to you, Katie and Troy.
Exciting. Hi, Donnie.
All right, good evening, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the weather. We have just a couple director comments for tonight. A huge thank you to everyone who has helped us spread the word about the parent involvement survey through the state. It really is impactful, and we spend a lot of time looking at it and reviewing that information. So thank you to any of you who have shared it or told parents to fill that out. We really do appreciate that. But there's a link on our flyer listed on tonight's director comments. We've had several Board of Education presentations. We shared with you about a month ago our Inclusive Practice Parent Guidebook, and also shared that with the board, and they were really excited to have that. You know, we spent some time also sharing information with you about co-teaching, and then again, we shared that with the board at a recent presentation and highlighted kind of our enhancement of that. Staffing is looking really good, not just for right now, but also moving into next year. It's hard to believe, but as of March, like, we're already looking at our vacancies for next year and how we're filling those and being able to support different college endeavors for recruiting. So that's, we're doing really well with staffing at this moment. Working on our PCG recommendations update report so that you're able to have that information about where we are with our current recommendations, working on a public flyer so that's able to be sent out to the community as well. And then most importantly, I'm going to turn it over to Troy for an IEP system update, which is going to be called EdPlan.
Yes, so we are pushing it out at the beginning of the year. Our staff will get trained right before they come back. Because our special educators this upcoming school year, they actually have 9 days in addition to their 10-month calendar, and 2 of those days will be dedicated to the new online system. And the online rollout actually will not only be how do I learn the new system, but it will actually be how do I write a compliant student-first IEP. So the full 2 days of walking through how do I write an IEP, what is eligibility, and then also how do I put it in this new system. You all will get a preview at the upcoming CCAC meeting in April. They're going to show us the parent portal and how that will work with you being able to get access to your files moving forward as a parent. And then for our staff, this Thursday, we have a preview session at 2:30. We sent the link out via the OSE connection and principal wrap-up. So if you're available, jump on. If you can't jump on at 2:30, no worries. We're going to record it and we're going to offer an FAQ for everything that is presented during that session. But that'll give our staff an opportunity to see what the system looks like as well. We also do have additional preview sessions that we are releasing, and those flyers are forthcoming.
Have for
Dawn.
I had a question about service delivery models and also about the new IEP, so I'll start with that first. So will it be a gradual transition from MOIEP to EdPlan, or will all the teachers have to move the information from MOIEP into EdPlan to start the school year? And then does that generate a next IEP like each time? Will that be the new dates?
No, so the way that it'll work is that we are working with the Johns Hopkins system. They will transition all of our files over into PDFs, and so our staff will be able to access the old files. And so if you, for instance, if you're a parent, the first time you'll see a change is when you have an annual review, or if for some reason you have to have a review revised prior to the annual review, you'll see what the new paperwork looks like. But otherwise, the very first time that you will, as a parent or even as a teacher, will interact with the new system is when you have to have that first annual review. So we are encouraging staff to get all of their annuals that would typically occur in August and September, and that's just always been a best practice, so that you don't have to worry about utilizing the new system right away until progress reports. Progress reports will look different as well, but you're not having to do like tons of data entry. The only ones that will occur right away is our students that move in from counties, because we obviously won't be on the old system any longer.
Okay, but as a follow-up, so the teachers, when they come in for pre-service, are they needing to take those PDFs and move that information in?
No, They will all be in our system. We're gonna do IEP snapshots so they can have those ready for the gen ed teachers. And so they'll be able to go in, pull up the student once they learn the new system and see all the archive files that have ever happened inside the old system.
My other question. So in terms of the continuum of services, I see here that FCPS defines co-teaching as 2 teachers, general ed, special ed. And then when I look down below in this bullet point, it says partnership between 2 teachers in the full instructional block. So is that going to be clarified or specified, determining like the different levels of instructional block? Because middle school is 45 minutes. So I could see where possibly that's manageable, but when you have the 88-minute high school block, just a battle has always been having somebody in there the whole entire time. So what messaging is going to the secondary level? Uh-oh. I have superpowers. It felt my passion. Just like, what is the messaging and what is the expectation? So if you or Katie go out to a high school and it is on the master schedule, a co-teaching course, you're walking in there, you're expecting to see 2 adults, correct? The whole time. Okay. And so there's staffing that's allotted for that within the master schedule?
So
And have you done any training with administrators? I'm sorry, this is like my passion. I'll shut up.
I'll let Director Buckley respond.
I love the eye contact that we made.
Sorry, I just.
It's a work in progress, to be
Okay.
honest with you. It is something that we've been monitoring and actually waiting for the state to give us guidance in regards to service delivery. Because there's a lot of conversation about whether or not the entire COTOP block should be considered as specialized instruction as service time on the IEP. So we're actually awaiting the release from the state on service delivery guidance in order to help clarify our current guidance. But as of right now, our high school and middle school teams have really worked hard to say, especially in core content areas, this is the expectation. And it's not just a general educator and a special educator, it's two adults, 2 teachers, because it could be the literacy specialist, it could be a variety of other things. So yes, that is the expectation at this moment, not to say that that's always gonna come to fruition for lots of reasons, but the hope is that we really prioritize. If that's going to be a support that we're putting in place for students, then that should be the support. Now, will every child need a true co-top block, or will some just need a push-in? That's gonna be student-specific depending on where they are in that continuum.
And I see that. I'm just, this specific bullet here about the full instructional block, because I know that that's really hard to do. And if that is something you're expecting, perhaps a fidelity checklist when you're going in, if that's what that ends up being from the state's guidance.
So we have a couple of different resources for administrators that we've been working on as we find some of the supports that are available. Because, you know, as a central office, we can't be everywhere to hold that standard. So what tools are we providing to be able to make that happen? And that's what we've been working on, is kind of like a website for teacher resources, for co-planning, co-assessing, and then what are the administrator resources that parallel that.
Okay, thank you.
It's not perfect.
I know, no, I know that it's not.
I'm not gonna tell you it is perfect.
No, I know
but
that it's not perfect, trust me. FCPS is not alone in that battle, so I totally am with you on that, but I had hope there for a second. Okay.
We are moving, and we're focusing on it, which is a nice thing to be able to say to you.
Zoe.
You have like the 2-day training at the beginning of the school year, but then as more special educators come on or get hired later on, will there be like other sessions to learn?
So we actually really hope to get to a place, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, but when we rolled out Schoology, we created Schoology ambassadors. So we want to get to the place where like maybe every school has an ed plan ambassador, cadre. Because ultimately, now that we will oversee this system, we will get to enhance it every year. And so we want feedback from the staff, from parents about how can we make it even better for our community. And so that will be important. And we do have it already set up that we probably, I believe, late September, early October, that will be like for anybody that missed it, and we had a couple of new hires maybe at the last minute. That will be another group. And then typically we usually have not a lot, but we do have a handful more of mid-year hires. So we have made sure to counter for anybody that can't make it at the beginning of the year.
So the Blueprint Special Education Work Group, I think, recommended a new online IEP for the state. How do you see that working with what's being implemented here locally?
So that'll take many years. We will be ahead of the game. But they actually, I am on the Assistant State Superintendent's Advisory Committee, so they're doing an RFP, but that RFP is not to search for a new system. It's first to do an audit of what is right and wrong with the current system. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily even, like, maybe out of the audit, it might say you need to get a new system, but, and then also, one of our delegates actually took our RFP so that it would help, infuse some of this more legislative driven of like the state needs to get ahead of this. Like, how come Frederick was able to find a system, and so things like that.
It's good to lead the way in Frederick.
Yeah. So. We'll see where that goes. The one thing, no matter what, regardless if you use a state system or your own system, you do have to give your data. So we'll give our data every quarter, and they'll have access to that. But it's still business as usual. It'll be a different process on our end because right now they can just go straight into the system and they have it, whereas our data person will have to do an upload, but it's not super intensive or something that they don't already understand.
Just as a translate, can you tell the group what an RFP is?
Yeah, so an RFP is also, it's called a request for proposals, and it basically is you put out a proposal to anybody. And so for MSDE, they're going to be putting out an RFP that is basically asking, hey, what company has the credentials to be able to audit an IEP system and say, what are the pros and cons of this IEP system? Now, out of that could kind of be like our audit, where it said, you guys should see if you need to get a new IEP system. And then we did an RFP for companies that actually could offer an IEP system. And so they might go that route, or they might take that audit and try and talk to Johns Hopkins, who oversees the current IEP state system, and say, what can you do to clean it up? And they naturally, for those that are not familiar with the IEP system, they do updates every summer. It's just been very limited updates of what they're able to do and keep up with the pace of, quite honestly, where technology is already at. Like the fact that we'll have translated documents. Just last summer, in the past, if you typed in a student's name and press enter, you wouldn't find the student. You had to press search and it would find the student. Mm-hmm. So somehow they finally got that corrected after many years, and we're like, okay. So we're super excited about our system, obviously, and the fact that we'll get to customize it and it'll support our teachers and our parents.
And the recommendations, I think at one of the prior meetings, you had talked about publicizing that, and it was being reviewed by Public Affairs. Where are we in that process? The status of the recommendations publicly displayed on CPS?
Getting close.
Close? Closer? Okay.
It is getting closer. It's kind of in the final edits.
Okay.
It's getting close.
Great. Any other questions for our directors? Okay. Thank you so much. Let's move on to our Partners for Success teammates, Isa and Grace.
So we've been working on planning events for the rest of the school year. Some of those events will include a sensory movie night, a train ride, caregiver retreat, the student panel coming up. I'm sure you guys know more about that. Party at the Playground, which is a partnering with Dear Presley's Expressions program, and an IEP 101 workshop. We have a game night with Rock Creek coming up. So we're also going to continue to plan for next year's events over the summer, while also kind of furthering some of our partnerships with the ARC and City Tricks and some of those. So kind of some of what we've been working on.
And then this week, we're very excited for our student panel. We have about 15 families signed up, so yay. So our student panel is going to consist of two of our wonderful students, Janelle and Jake, and then Director Katie Buckley will be on there as well, an administrator from Middletown High, and then a wonderful FCC student named Zach, and he was a former FCPS student, and his mom currently works at Tuscarora High. So we are excited for him to join the panel and to just share what it's like after high school, just to kind of help these current high school students in prepping on where they want to go after high school, and just the self-advocacy that they'll need, and any tips that our wonderful panel can give. It'll be at Mount Airy Bowling, so we'll have a little fun, so it's not just talking, and we'll have food for them because high schoolers eat. So it'll be a good event, and we hope to do more like this, but this is a jumping off point, so we're very excited. And then excited for Saturday for the CCAC Fair. So we will be a vendor as well, and we'll be there to participate in any way that we can and help continue. Kara and I had a conversation today about the last things that we need to get done, and it's coming close. Something that I wanted to share too that we're so happy and grateful about, Public Affairs was able to get us a nice little group listing for our special education families. 'Cause we had a list of everyone, but we were sending those out individually through all those parents, and then they were able to get us a nice listing through School Messenger. So now we're able to send stuff out, a one-time message to everyone in a bulk way. I think moving forward, we would love to send things out that anybody sends to us, but we would love to send them out more towards the beginning of the month when we also create our newsletter. So then we can send our newsletter out in these emails so that everything can kind of be there at once, and then individually, like once or twice a week, however it may need to be up into the event, because lately I've been feeling I've been sending 3 or 4 emails in 1 week, and I don't know how much families love to get all those because they always get so many emails from FCPS as it is through their own schools and stuff. So I think that would help a lot as well to get anything that you guys want us to share out more towards the beginning of the month when we create our newsletters. But I think those are our updates. We are working with our lovely Jessicas to start planning for our grant school year, for grant school year 26. And we are planning lots of things with that, with the ARC and doing SIB shops. We're going to be doing an IEP, what's it called? Just an ongoing IEP workshop for families, and our goal is to try and do that through each feeder pattern, and do a virtual and an in-person throughout the school year, so that there are more than one and that they're more available throughout the county. And so we're working with Carly Parsons on that, and she is wonderful, and we're very excited for that project for next year as well. That is our updates. Any questions or suggestions?
Is it going to be, will the panel be recorded?
We have not discussed that. I've not been asked that, so I feel like I would say probably for the just the questions that may get asked and the personal information that may be during those, I would say probably not.
Gotcha. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Jake.
Go ahead.
Aren't you a creator?
Well, I wasn't sure if we have, Lisa, I know you said you would share with me like a list of pre-made questions.
Yes.
Is that ready yet?
Yes, it is. So I'll send that out to you guys first thing tomorrow, and then if you don't like them, then we could change them. Or if you have any of your own that you think might be good too, then we can add those as well.
Wonderful, thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
All right, so we will move into our CSAC update from Brooke Schmidt.
It's very helpful to have the agenda pulled up. So, yeah, just a quick overview. March's meeting, Dr. Hickman came and did an overview. You guys heard a lot of talk about the blueprint, but the recommendations that came out of the special education work group from Blueprint, and how they're prioritizing those. There should be slides coming to me eventually. When I get those, they will be sent to Jamie and posted and stuff. Dr. Bradford also came and talked about ESY. So what we are trying to do is similar to what we're doing here in Frederick County, and have a short section of each of our agenda be informational from somebody other than just the same people every month, sharing out information based on the survey that we did a couple months ago, the feedback we got on that. So one of those topics was ESY. So Dr. Bradford came and talked about that this time. Our big main focus is trying to change kind of how we want to operate moving forward into next school year. So part of that includes a document portal. So right now, things are very slow to trickle out, and there are too many hoops that MSD has to jump through to get things on their website. So part of solving that problem is PPMD's website is going to have a portal for CSAC documents, and it will also house bylaws and sample budgets, some of which are being pulled from what we're doing here in Frederick County, and then will be housed on there so that all CCACs across the state can easily access stuff without having to jump through the extra hoops that you have to through MSDE on their website. And then part of it was also planning for the joint meeting May 14th. There's supposed to be a save the date coming out anytime now. So if you don't already have it on your calendar, May 14th, it'll be the same 10 a.m. Time slot during the day, but that will be for all CCAC members. So everybody will be invited to participate. We're working on what that agenda will look like, but part of that goal is to be doing some, we're gonna have a couple presenters come in and do a little bit on, again, what was in the survey. So part of that was family engagement. I don't seem to have a huge problem with that here, but some of the other CCACs do. And then go over, by then the portal will be live as well to go over. So as soon as any of that information comes out, the slides and the save the date, I will push it out to Jamie to push out to you guys as well.
Any questions from anyone? I would strongly encourage you to try to attend the joint meeting. It would be great to have a great, Frederick County presence on that call. And it's new this time around that it's extended beyond just chairs. Historically, it's only been an invitation that includes the chairs of the CCACs across the state. So this is an opportunity to connect with state level folks who are working on special education. So it'd be great to see you all show up there, even if it's just for some part of it, if you can't commit the whole, it's 2 hours, right? Yeah, 2 hours. I was able to join the last CSAC meeting, and it's always very informational to understand what's happening around the other counties, what other CCACs are facing. There's lots of great ideas that get shared, so it's a great way to connect in a different way beyond just our county and what's happening here. Okay, thank you, Brooke. All right, so let's move on to subcommittee reports. So Jen Wheat, our treasurer, any budget updates?
Okay, so there's no update on our budget. It's what it is from 2 months ago when we submitted it. There's been no update from MSDE with approval, but there doesn't seem to be concern that we won't get approved for those items that we've put in. And again, we won't have any adjustments or submit any receipts until after the resource fair. There was an adjustment in the timeline of the grant, which works in our favor, because now it will be July 1st of 25 through June 30th of 26. So it more aligns with when we spend our money, which is a lot easier and doesn't have that overlap like we had before, trying to figure that part out. Because of that, they would like to meet sooner, and so it puts us, I guess, as the exec board in a spot to make sure that we've discussed what we want to would spend the money on next year, because they would like to meet like the
Jessicas, you keep hearing their names. There's two Jessicas. There's a grant Jessica and like a budget Jessica. And then, you know, Katie and Troy and whoever is part of the whole team to discuss kind of how we see moving forward projected what we're going to spend our money on. I think we're going to try to meet first to kind of come up with a game plan for that, but that meeting is next Monday.
Great. Thank you. All right, for membership, Laura, would you mind sharing updates on what we did in the subcommittee?
Certainly. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for the publicity through the FCPS channels, Partners for Success, and our very own comms committee, for CCAC website and other CCAC socials, the superintendent's bulletin, FCPS's website, Partners for Success PR, and Department of Special Ed email. So we all got together on the 24th of February to, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. At our February 24th CCAG meeting, we were talking about translating this into Spanish, to translating the application into Spanish. Are we still considering possibly doing that at this time, or we'll think about it?
I think we can probably take that offline. I have no recollection of that whatsoever. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't remember talking about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys just send us the thing.
Yeah.
We can do it for you.
Okay. Now, the team met virtually on March 13th to work on the applicant rubric. As of today, there are 27 applicants. First-time applicants, we have 1 community member, 4 staff members, 1 high school who is not from Urbana.
Good news.
15 parents, guardians, 2 current CCAC members who are renewing their membership. These are 2 members who have filled out their membership re-apps. And then previous year applicants, we have 3 parent guardians and 1 staff. I'd like to remind current members, just as Jamie did in the beginning of the evening, an email for membership renewal was sent out on March 9th. Approximately 6 members are up for renewal. If you are interested in renewing your membership, please do so by or before May 15th. If you need a reminder of who you are, please see me after the meeting. And Ad hoc bylaws subcommittee and membership subcommittee are coordinating regarding revision of membership processes and procedures. As of today, our next meeting will be to be determined until we get it determined.
Yeah, we're gonna hold some meeting dates and times so that we can review all of the applications that have been submitted, so that we have space set aside for that. And then ideally, because we have until May 15th, this is following our current bylaws, people can submit their application until May 15th, and then we need to make a decision by June 30th is when we are going to let folks know the decision. And we've instituted a short rubric to help us add some consistency into the process to make sure that we're looking at diversity from lots of different angles, whether it's feeder pattern or other elements of diversity, because we've definitely gotten feedback around the process isn't transparent, we don't know who you're selecting and why. So we tried to take into account some of that feedback, and we're doing a scoring rubric. And then we will have a 20-minute informal session with the people to kind of get through that rubric process and just have a virtual chat. Make sure people understand what it is that they've applied for, if they have any questions for us, if we have questions for them, just an informal, I don't want to call it an interview, but just a connect before onboarding somebody to the membership, or the member, as a member to the committee. Okay, questions, Jen? Yes.
So when you send out the applications now, will you, in transparency, because I think one of the reasons people didn't understand was where the openings were.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had 25 parents, or 2 openings, and they, that part, when you send out the application where you now say, we have 1 community, 3 parents, 1 student, and 2 staff. Will you let people know so they kind of know their odds, I guess, so to speak?
We can put that at the top of the application. We hadn't thought of that. It is on our website, though. All the members are listed with their terms, and it indicates which, if you're a student member, what your member type is, but somebody out external wouldn't be able to sort of sort that out for themselves. So that's good feedback. We can include that.
I think that's one of the biggest, feedback we ever got. It was just pure fact that they didn't know, oh, there was only 1 spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
We will definitely make that transparent. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Joanna?
So, I know this is about like the membership. Maybe I should ask it actually. I think it's more in regards to a similar statement of the question that we didn't know was on the computer or on the list. But I guess we can come back to it. If somebody wants to sign up to speak, like a member of the community, and they don't know English, and they want to sign up to speak, but about their child or grandchild, and how.
So I'll cover this later, but there's new guidance around public comment. If somebody needs, translation services that can be provided, but we need advance notice. So we essentially aspired, with the exception of the memo that was just released, we were intending to follow what the Board of Education was already doing around some of that. So we can come back to that later. We need to understand and implement the changes that have been made for advisory committees around public comment, and then we need to get that out on our website and share it with folks. Because if they need ASL or if they need Spanish translation, those are services that can be provided, but we need adequate notice in order to. Okay, moving on to the events subcommittee.
Great. All right, so I'm the chair of the events committee, but the only thing that we're talking about right now is resource fair. It's all resource fair all the time.
Sleep and dream.
So I'm going to defer to Tara because she is the resource fair coordinator extraordinaire. Take it away, Tara.
The resource fair is this Saturday, and we are in the final stretch of preparations. All the different members of the committee have been working hard on different projects. A couple big things to note is we have
57
vendors registered at this time.
I just note 16 of them are new this year.
That's amazing.
Stacy has been integral in getting all of that together and reaching out to past people, connecting with new folks. It's been wonderful. We have a ton of volunteers from our FCPS staff and our 11-month employees that have registered through the sign-up system that Sarah has set up. And even more are coming in, like people registered again today. So it's exciting. So we're going to have help. We're going to have boots on the ground. And then Amy is working diligently on taking care of how we're going to take care of our volunteers. Once they get there, get them checked in, get them onboarded and rolling. So that's been very exciting. Jamie and Merritt have helped with pushing out all the information about the resource fair like we talked about earlier, so that's been key as well. I would just ask at the end of the night if you could take a couple moments to come over, and if you have not signed up on the Sign Up Genius that went out for CCAC members, if you could stop by and see me. You can even just verbally tell me, oh, I'm planning on coming Friday night, or I'm here for the day on Saturday, what time do you want me, or I'm available this time, so we can work with when all of you will be there and have a planned activity or position for you that day. So put your thinking cap on. 5 to 8 Friday night is set up, and then the event itself is from 10 to 2 on Saturday, with setup beginning at 8 a.m. and cleanup ending at 4. And if you're like, I'm not a real talk to people person, there are jobs that you can do that don't involve talking to a lot of people. If you're like, I really want to interact with people, there are jobs to do where you can interact with other people. I will put you where you're comfortable, I promise.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have any other big updates, other than we can't wait to see everyone there. It's gonna be bigger and better. Every year we're growing, and this team's really been great to work with this year, so. Thank you.
Okay, a huge thanks to all of you putting all of that effort into our annual event. All right, so communication. So communicated by email previously, Megan Knapp resigned, and so Merritt stepped up to chair our communications subcommittee. So Merritt, over to you.
Okay. Well, I have just, since we've spoken, trying just to get my footing, to be honest with you. I haven't had a lot of success with our meetings, but that'll get better, I hope. But I have been working on putting together a different avenue for website. I've narrowed it down to 4, maybe 5, so I'm still doing some more in-depth research into those and kind of playing with each and every single one just to see what's easy, not easy, but user-friendly. That's good. The other thing we've been looking at here is media contact lists within Frederick County. The city come up with a list and hoping to work with our group to come up with more. And that's it, and helping you guys with the resource fair.
Wonderful. So just a little bit more context from a budget perspective, Jen. So we had talked about revisiting the website platform. So that's the research that she's starting to do. Is there a by when that we want to get that information so we can make decisions around it?
So they have to submit on April 25th. And so she wants everything by April 10th?
April 10th, okay. And then the executive officer should take a look at that before April 10th, Merritt.
Yeah, and when the ones I'm looking at, we're literally talking, believe it or not, $2 a month. For the first 48 months is pretty good so far.
Okay, so we'll take a look at what
I'll
your
have it all broken
recommendations
down
are.
for you.
Yeah, okay. Before April 10th,
Yep.
that way we can get it sorted for the grant process. Right. Thank you. Anything from Student Voices?
I have no major updates right now.
You have a major update. You're on a panel.
Yes, we are on a panel. Other than the panel, which is major.
Yes.
Fantastic. I'm super excited. I was going to leave that for student comments.
Okay.
But yes, I'm very excited to be on the panel. I'm very excited to have Janelle on the panel because I was a little nervous if I was the only kid on the panel. Not that I couldn't do it, it's just, you know.
Not really a
It's
pan.
nice to have Janelle there for it. I have no major updates as a committee. I've been a little frustrated with some of the issues I wanted to bring the committee's attention to. Like, for example, I'm having some trouble with Urbana's locker rooms because not all of Urbana's teams get access to locker rooms for changing, and that was a struggle for me personally, and I know some of our other specially educated friends struggle with that, so I tried to reach out to people who are in charge of that, and I've gotten nothing. So I'm a little discouraged, I'm a little frustrated, but what I think would be best and most appropriate for the committee now would be to pivot and make sure we have some wonderful student voices for next year, because as much as I want to be here, I will be at college and cannot come back. I will no longer be a student either, so that would be weird. And Janelle and Maeli are both seniors as well, so Student Voices kind of needs a complete revamp membership-wise. So I would like to coordinate with membership and see how we can get that done, because one student is great.
Yes.
But I was a solo show for most of last year, and I can't really do a committee like that. And I don't think anybody can, so I think that is what we're gonna try to do moving forward for the rest of this year, is just make sure we have people that wanna come in and make change and have a little bit of a structure for next year, just so we don't kind of get caught with our wheels spinning. But in terms of,
We also,
think it was a couple of weeks ago, but we did talk to communications, me and Jake are on that committee, prior to sort of send some flyers or something to reach out to other students, either through Schoology or social media, to see who's willing to sort of see if they want to do it and what CCAC actually is, because a lot of kids don't really know what it is. But yeah, hopefully we have a lot more free time on our hands, because we all gone into college.
Yay. Congratulations.
That's good. We're a little bit more calm now. So hopefully we'll...
Congratulations.
Yeah. Maybe you could do a little video or something with the communications subcommittee, and you could do a little promo for, hey, be a student member of CCAC or something.
That'd be super cool. But yeah, we're open to ideas. That's kind of what we want to focus on as we wrap up the year. But other than that, no major updates from us.
Excellent. Well, you have a lot going for you, so very excited. And it's been such a pleasure to have you all here.
It ain't over yet, Jamie.
All right. So, bylaws. We did host a session to do an overview of some of the proposed bylaws changes. We do have a sort of redlined version of what those proposed changes will be that we are working to get sent out this week. I think you all have 20 days to consider any proposed revisions before a vote can be taken. So we're looking to get those out this week so that we can vote on them at the next CCAC meeting. And I think that's it for subcommittee updates. And then I think the only unfinished business was really around some of what's happening from a budget perspective, and I think Board Member Allen covered that nicely already. So if there is something that you want to, voice your opinion around, stay close and pay attention to the process. Laura is keeping us up to date on all of the dates that are coming, because there will be another time where the budget is going to the county council. I think there's some other information sessions that are still being held around this, so don't be a stranger and send out an email as Board Member Allen suggested.
Do you want me to provide any of those dates real quick?
I think we can just send them around. And then we didn't have any well, there is maybe one new business item, which is just around the change, and I don't know if you want to speak to it, I'm kind of putting you on the spot, the change to public comment.
Yeah, so I think that it was driven by the interest that may be generated from some of the policy changes coming up. So I wanted to make sure that public comments were managed at the committee level in a way that was consistent for every committee. So it was really driven by one committee, which was the policy committee, but then it was decided that it really should be universal, so that if somebody is attending a committee, that they're going to have the same expectation and it's 2 minutes. So instead of 3 minutes as it is at the board meeting, it's 2 minutes that they're allowing for the public comment. And it is always appreciated for people to sign up. I think there is also not a recognition by all of the public that they can attend committee meetings. So that's another thing, that there are people who think that, well, and some of the committee meetings are during a period of time of a work day, so that they're not attended by the public, or typically not attended by public members. But that every committee should have the opportunity to entertain public comment. So, yes. That's basically it. I mean, there's some other legal nuances that are there when it comes to how you run your meeting and, the Robert's Rules of Order and all that stuff. And what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in the public comment.
Yeah. I think two things that came up for me around this. One is just the limitation to 2 minutes. because it does, I mean, 3 minutes isn't a lot, and it seems incongruent with the board's own policy. So that was one thing that stuck out for me, which seems a little curious. The other piece is around the technical assistance and bulletin around CCACs across the state does encourage virtual meetings. So and we haven't tabled this yet, that's something I was looking to implement for next school year, hybrid meetings, so that we serve a special education community, and so we want to make our meetings more publicly accessible and allow people to join virtually.
Okay.
Creates a different dynamic in terms of how we need to facilitate that, and so
Yeah.
that is something that I think we look to address in the next school year. So that memo requires you to be in person to sign up for public comment, the way that it's stated currently.
Yeah, it would, and as changes happen, so does the policy.
Okay.
So I think that if that was a format that CCAC decided to take on, and that it was doable and all of the processes were approved, that then, yes, there'd be a different, maybe a caveat to an amendment or whatever, or it's just changed to include hybrid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think for even the Board of Education, you can sign up in advance for your public comment. You can
can.
register in advance. And so
Yeah.
currently, we allow that through our website, and that memo doesn't allow that.
So it's good that you brought that forward, so maybe I'll take that when we have the policy committee meeting on
Okay.
Wednesday, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So it's sign up prior to.
Yeah.
So, but some of the reasons behind the public comment changes in the committee level is that this is where a lot of the work of the board is done. And so they didn't want, some of the thought behind that was they didn't want to disrupt the business of the committees, with public comment consuming too much of the time. So most committees are run with this, premise that, we're here to do this, and not that the public's not important, and I don't want to diminish that or devalue that at all. That's not what I'm saying, but I think that was some of the mindset.
You have a question or a comment?
I have a moment of contention.
Uh-oh.
And it is not towards you, Ms. Allen.
Okay.
But when I read that memorandum, the decision was actually made without consulting any of the advisory committees to see how their public comment process works. In fact, if anything, I would say that that decision is silencing public comment by making it 2 minutes, by making it inaccessible, by making people have to come in physically and sign it. Are they not aware of ADA rules or accommodations?
Oh, those are good points.
It is my it is a personal thing that it's quite insulting and quite offensive to the public itself.
Okay. I will carry that forward.
Please do. I'll tell them myself if I have to.
Thank you, Laura. Jen?
Can they submit in writing just like we can for the Board of Ed?
Can.
So comment can be in writing.
Yes, it can be. I have a question.
Go ahead, Jen.
And if you're unable to finish your 2-minute comment, the rest of it can be submitted in writing.
Is there a time limit? Not a time.
It's 40 minutes total of public
40 minutes
comment.
total.
30 at the
An hour.
beginning. It's an hour at the beginning of board, and then at the end, everybody else can finish. Right? That's still the case?
No, so they did change that for the Board of Ed. There's 60 minutes total.
Period, no more.
Period, right. And it is a set period of time on the agenda for when public comments are heard. And then after that, if you wanted to submit something, say you came in person, you didn't sign up beforehand, they do take certain slots. There's a certain number of slots, depending on how many people signed up beforehand. And you didn't get on the slate to public comment, you can submit it in writing. And then it goes on the record which means that on board docs, then it's gonna be.
It'll be part of public comment.
Becomes part of the, yeah, the historical document.
Go ahead, Karen.
I had a question, and I think I know the answer, but I'm wondering if it's something to consider. With the change to 2 minutes, because we've been practicing 3 minutes, and it's seemed to work very well for us as a committee.
Yeah.
Is there a gray space there where we as a committee could decide we're gonna give more time? Like, could it be a minimum of 2 minutes with the committee's option to allow for more?
You know,
I don't think it's written that way,
know.
but is that a consideration? I understand where maybe like a policy committee really needs to keep it tight, but we would give other committees the opportunity to say a minimum of 2 minutes, and each committee could establish their own maximum time.
You know, I don't know the answer to that, I can't answer, but
It's
I
kind
can.
of an idea.
Yeah, I
Slash
can
gray
take
area
that,
cleanup.
yeah, I can take it forward. Because, you know, the scenario you're presenting is, say you have 5 people public comment. Well, you know, 2 minutes, you know, if you're gonna allow for 30 minutes of public comment, those people could speak for 3 minutes.
Exactly.
You know?
If the committee had enough
Plenty
time.
of opportunity.
So it would
you
give
know,
wiggle room to allow.
Some grace,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for that, yeah.
I just was thinking about that.
I'm making notes here.
Thank you. Thank you for taking our feedback. We appreciate it.
Yes, very much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm not promising anything.
We understand.
I certainly will carry it forward.
Yeah, well, I certainly understand the need for consistency across all the advisory boards. It would have been appreciated if they would have consulted the chairs of those advisory committees to even see how we're operating, to see what's working and what isn't working. We do strive to follow Robert's Rules of Order. It's right here on all of our name tags. And as chair and vice chair or co-chair, we do want to be entrusted to run an orderly business meeting.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
So, okay, thank you. So moving on, we have member voices. So do we have any parents that would like to share? Go ahead, Dawn.
So I just wanted to share that I went to the Council for Exceptional Children conference in Baltimore for 3 days, not as a parent, MCPS, 'cause I'm central office for MCPS. And there were a lot of really great informational sessions. They run so many at the same time that you have to pick and choose, but many of them that I noticed are really had a lot of focus on the use of AI and ChatGPT. There were a ton of sessions on that and how it can be used within special education, how it can be used to write IEPs. I'm not so sure about that one, but and there were a lot of ones also about how we keep our special education teachers. So I attended a few of those because that is something I think that every school system struggles with, and for those of us that have been at it for like 3 decades, I always want to know the reason why. And so I went to this presentation. It was called "Don't Worry, You'll Figure It Out and Other Lies We Tell" education teachers. And it was done on George Mason University and their teacher education program. And so basically they followed a group of teachers, and what they found from them is lack of transparency, being lied to in interviews about all the resources and supports they're going to have. If school systems just would have been upfront with them and said, you know what, we can't give you everything we need, you are going to deal with behaviors in the classroom and things like that, then they would have stayed because they would have approached it from a different lens. And so there were a number of other things, but that's the one that really sticks with me. The other piece was that George Mason has created a program where they follow the teachers for like 3 years after and offer groups with them that they can meet virtually, and they do summer sessions with them to kind of like, it's not like, here you go, we're shoving you out, you got your degree, thank you, we're done with you. So those ones were really interesting to me. And then preparing students on the spectrum for college, that I went to for personal reasons. And managing around what they'll need to know. And I felt really good at that one because I was doing all the things they said I needed to be doing, so. But yeah, I mean, and there were a ton of giveaways as well. They give you a ton of things when you go. There was like Sticker Fest. I got so many stickers to give out as, you know, like rewards. And yeah, and I mean, it was near the Inner Harbor, so there was a nice lunch thrown in there too. You know?
Sounds amazing.
But yeah, it was pretty good. It's really hard to choose when you go to those.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
I'm so glad you got to go, Dawn.
Go ahead.
Did you get a handout or brochure from that, by any chance?
It's at my house, but you can actually log in and see what all their presentations were. It's still online.
I want to include that in the notes.
Yeah, so if you go to the cecconvention.org, you can still see, and a lot of folks uploaded them specifically. You can see the presentations.
Oh, that's amazing.
We divided and conquered so we could get a whole bunch of different things.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. All right, any other parent comments? Community members? Jen?
And I don't know if you mentioned this already, but Kara Phelps did resign from her position on the committee. And in case she watches it, I just wanted to say a thank you to Kara because she'd been on the committee the longest. Now she's left me. And so she just put a lot into the committee, and we really appreciate her, and I'm sad to see her go.
Yes, I second that.
Meredith.
Any student comments?
A couple things. I mean, nothing major, just that I'm excited to be doing all the things that I'm doing and been working towards. I'm very excited to be on that student panel, which I did not mention as part of my committee comments, but I'm very excited. It's not something I've ever had the.
Yeah.
Yes.
My Ellie looks suspicious. She's like, I don't know.
It's not something I've ever really had the opportunity to do before, and I think it's really cool. I'm really excited to share my experiences in a way that I haven't before. The food's gonna be good, so that's great too. I'm gonna crush people at some bowling, so that'll be fun. Oh yeah. Other than that, I could not be at the February meeting, so maybe you guys have heard this twice, but my Ellie and I were recently in Mr. Urbana. And the boys and I raised a little under $10,000 for Rock Creek.
So I gave you shout outs at the last meeting. I may have shared some pictures too.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, Dawn and Kara were there with their families, and that was fantastic. My Ellie crushed it on the dance floor.
Yes.
And my comedy routine, I think people could say was okay. I'm not a comedian, we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Again, that was really something that I've never really done before. I'm not an actor. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm more a academic kind of guy behind the scenes. So doing that was interesting, but it was a great experience. And I'm excited to revisit Rock Creek for the resource fair on Saturday. Looking forward to that because I was not there last year. Yeah, that's all I have.
Great. Anything else from our students? We're good? Okay. And then our staff or educators. Zoe?
I just want to let you guys know that 4 of us of the local support staff went to the National Education Association conference this weekend for support employees. There were 1,000 people there from all over the nation, and we got some really good ideas, and we all went to different sessions, so we're coming back hopefully strong and with some freshness. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we're going to keep going, put our resources out there as much as we can to work with FCTA and the admin committee. And we also just want to let you know that from a national level, we know that it's scary right now, but we are very, very prominent and still trying to put that kid as the number 1 as an overall. So that was pretty much the message of the whole session.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Any other staff or educators? I know you're not. Did you have a question or?
I had a comment that I forgot during parent.
Gotcha. Okay. Over to you.
I just wanted to mention that I did go to County Executive Fitzwater's budget town hall session. I did give public comment on behalf of CCAG. Also, Zoe was there, John was there, and Brooke was there, and we all wore our, well.
I'm
Zoe-
sorry. I can only wear
Zoe
one
did not-
shirt. I'm sorry.
Zoe was not in her, powder puff blue shirt.
I was
but
a lime green.
The
but I
spirit
still-
was there. And they heard us. They heard us. And hear me loud.
Thank you for being there on that
Appreciate
day. That was a difficult day for a lot of people. Joanna.
Can I ask, what was the statement or a general?
Yes, I pretty much tailored the letter that CCAG wrote to Council Fitzwater. Just instead of, saying we're writing to you today, I altered it to I'm speaking to you today. But it.
County Executive Fitzwater, but yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I can give you a copy or it's available. Thank you.
All right, so I think that concludes our member voices section of our agenda. So we do have one person signed up for public comment, I believe. Can you share the name if you have it?
No, I don't have it.
I don't have my.
I apologize.
While you're pulling that up, I do have to read the statement. So the Board Advisory Committees view public comment as an opportunity to hear concerns of the public with the understanding and expectation that it is not considered a question and answer platform with Board Advisory Committee members. Consequently, the Board Advisory Committee members will not provide a response to public comment presented in its meeting or by submission of a written comment, although they or we may follow up with the individual as appropriate. In order to have an orderly presentation of comments by the public and to maximize the opportunity for public comment, students, individuals, and organizational representatives shall be limited to 2 minutes for their public comment. At the conclusion of 2 minutes, you'll be asked to complete your sentence. So you may come up for public comments.
Where would you like me to come?
You can just come up here. Courtney Irby?
Irby.
Irby? Okay.
Yeah, it's simple. So I understand now that this is not a question answer thing. So if anybody hears what I'm saying and has any advice or information for me, if you don't mind just kind of giving me, a little bit of feedback afterwards, I would love that. So I'm a parent of 2 Centerville Elementary School kids, 4th grade and 1st grade, and I also have my baby, who's not a baby, will be in kindergarten next year. So last year we were introduced at Centerville, the Pyramid Program. I don't know, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with what that is. I had some concerns. I volunteer a lot at the school, and we were all a little uncertain as to what it was. In my time of volunteering, I have personally seen many of the students being very aggressive and violent towards the staff. They do amazing. I mean, our principal, especially Ms. Hobson, I cannot say enough about her. She's truly, a gift. But I have seen them some children pummel these staff, and they just handle it with grace. But these are larger children, and we are dealing with an elementary school. These are my babies, a lot of people's babies, and who are fully, they're not able to defend themselves. And I feel that it is a safety concern. I've also been told recently that we're now introducing the Delta program to Centerville, which in my understanding, and I would love more information, is an extension of Pyramid with children that maybe have violent tendencies as well, or maybe impulsive. But it's basically, I see that these programs are expanding through Centerville. What I would like to know is, I know that some of the preschool programs are leaving to make room for these programs. I was told 2 of the preschool classes were, but I don't know enough about what the plan is, what is going on.
And that concludes your 2 minutes.
Okay.
So sorry, if you want to send us something in writing to finish your
Who do
thought.
I send that to?
You can send it to ccacinformation@gmail.com.
SECAC?
Yeah, CCAC.
CCAC information.
information@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your public comment. Okay. All right. So that largely concludes our agenda for this evening. I'll remind everybody that our next meeting is here in the boardroom on April 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. We will have as our guest speaker Erin Gambrell. She is with Youth Services with the Frederick County Public Library. So she reached out and asked if she could share some information and resources with us. So she will be here to as our speaker at our next meeting. And of course, we do have the demo of the new IEP system as part of our April meeting as well. So there will be less business and more learning at our next meeting. So we'll tailor the agenda accordingly. Any final comments, questions, concerns before there is a motion to adjourn?
Don't forget to see me.
Joanna?
Soon I'll be taking pictures.
Yes, so we are going to arrange for an opportunity for members to have a picture taken so that we can post this on our website so that people can see who you are if you are so inclined. It is optional, it is not required. Joanna has offered to help with that, and we'll get that arranged either at the retreat, which reminds me we have to choose a new date for. So we're looking at May 10th or May 6th, so we'll send something around that, the 5th. Both of us have competing obligations that have arisen on that day, so we do need to find a different date for that. So we'll get back in touch with when that annual retreat will be. Or the 10th.
Or the 10th.
Yes, May 6th or May.
6th is a Tuesday.
May
May
4th.
4th or May 10th.
May 4th or May 10th, sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
May 4th is a Sunday.
Yeah, we'll send something around. It is a required activity for our bylaws, so that, and it does have to be held within a certain time frame according to our bylaws. So we'll get back to you on that. All right, is there a motion to adjourn? All right, Dawn, move to adjourn. So this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.